What is up guys? I've been trying to make my own design and it's turning out to be much more challenging than expected. And while I was designing it, I just realized how important it is to have your own design philosophy and your own design identity. For example, right now my face is probably my first identity, but when it comes to your online presence, having a specific style to make you stand out is quite important and doesn't necessarily have to be out of the world, it just has to be yours. So when I was trying to design my own jewelry, I wanted to have something related to my logo, which is Chonga. Firstly, I thought let's try to do something with the J. At least for me, it's quite more distinctive than compared to other brands, as it is a very thin line, but when it comes to the bottom, it slightly shifts into short corner, and I wanted to do something related to that design. So first, I had very abstract ideas of how I wanted the jewelry to look. I can't just have a simple J written on the ring. I tried to have the opposite loop type design, where one J is on the opposite side of the other and there's a small gap in between. So first I tried to make a ring for a woman, and for women generally the rings are much thinner than men. So I initially designed something very thin, but then it turned out to be very generic. There might be people out there who like this design, but for my personal taste and my design, I wanted something much more sharp and much more aggressive looking. Ran through a few ideas and we came up with slightly sharper edges, and generally most jewelry is glossy finish to make it much more shiny and much more attractive. Turns out that finishing for my specific design turned out to be not that pronounced, as I wanted the edges to be quite visible even from a naked eye, but turns out glossy finishing throughout did not let that happen. So then I thought let's try different finishing on the edges compared to the rest of the jewelry. But the next challenge we ran into was, the fuck, nobody wants me to take a video. Hello. Okay, kindly, so I just spoke to Arpan, who manages the manufacturing department. Unfortunately, the edges we wanted in sand finishing becomes much less pronounced as the edges start kind of wearing off. It's not just that you want a design and it just comes out of the blue in the machine. There's a lot of things that just can't be manufactured. Because I have a background in 3D modeling, I love modeling to endless imagination, but turns out when it comes to reality and manufacturing it, it just doesn't always happen. So having an idea and manufacturing it to see how well it looks in real life is a very time consuming and labor intensive process. And not just time consuming, it's also quite capital intensive as you're dealing with actual gold jewelry. And I realized that your brand identity, your brand philosophy, your brand characteristics just does not come out of the blue. It actually evolves over time, and your design does not have to be completely out of the world where it doesn't look like even a jewelry. It just has to be your jewelry. It just has to be your design, and I think that's what makes it much more unique than just being completely random design. And if somehow you can communicate your emotion, your meaning through your design, at least to convince yourself, then there's a chance that you can transcend that emotion to others. And I think that's a journey which has to be enjoyed, and so far I'm enjoying that journey. So that's all I wanted to say right now. So what's your brand identity? What's your design? Can be color, can be visual characteristics, can be a voice. Let me know that. Catch you next time.